Well, thank you, everybody, for coming for today's important announcement. I'm just going to kind of go through the run of show, let you know what we can expect as we go through this short presser. First, we will start with Mayor Yemi Mobolade, and Derek Wilson's been handing out some sheets on our speakers, so no one's going to be giving name spellings or titles from the podium, but if you have any questions, please follow up. Following Mayor Yemi Mobolade will be Chief Adrian Vasquez with the Colorado Springs Police Department. Following Chief Vasquez will be Fire Chief Randy Royal with the Colorado Springs Fire Department, followed by Councilmember Nancy Henjum from District 5. She is also the co-chair of the Public Safety Working Committee, along with District 6 Council member Roland Rainey, who is not with us today. And then we will have final remarks by Deputy Chief John Koch with the Colorado Springs Police Department. At that point, we'll open it up to some questions for the group, so you can direct them to whoever may be. We'll do Q&A for a few minutes. At that point, I'm going to have to dismiss the chief and the mayor. We do have a promotion ceremony this afternoon that they need to get to, but Deputy Chief Koch, Deputy Chief De Leon will be available for further one-on-ones if they're desired, as well as Councilwoman Henjum. So with that, I will turn it over to Mayor Yemi.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. Public safety is the most fundamental responsibility of government, and it's one of my defining priorities as your mayor. Simply put, I like to say a great city is a safe city, and a safe city is a great city. It is a foundation of strong neighborhoods, economic opportunity, and high quality of life. And that is why we have made strategic investments in people, technology, and systems that help protect our residents and strengthen our community. Those investments are producing results. We have strengthened our 911 operations to the highest performance level since 2018. We have reduced priority 1 calls from 24 minutes to 11 minutes. And we have invested in innovative tools like the drone as a first responder and the real-time crime center and the whole blood program. And we continue to make measurable progress on the public safety outcomes that matter most to our residents. These results are the product of purposeful leadership, disciplined investments, strong partnership, and the extraordinary dedication of our first responders. At the same time, the city charter charges me with another important responsibility, and that is being a careful steward of our limited taxpayer dollars. And at the time where affordability remains a challenge for many families in our city, we have a duty to ensure that every dollar entrusted to us is used wisely, effectively, and transparently. Just as families and businesses have had to make every dollar count, city government must do the same. That commitment to stewardship is what brings us to today's press conference. You see, Colorado Springs residents contribute a significant share of the telecommunications surcharges that fund the 911 services across our region. Our community also generates the vast majority of emergency calls within the current system. As Colorado Springs continues to grow, it is increasingly important that the resources generated by our residents are aligned with the needs of our residents. I'm going to say that line again. As Colorado Springs continues to grow, it is increasingly important that the resources generated by our residents are aligned with the needs of our residents. That is why today we are announcing our decision to move forward with the creation of a Colorado Springs 911 authority. This decision is rooted in 2 principles: stronger local accountability and responsible stewardship. It will give us the greater ability to align our dollars, the dollars our residents already pay with the community needs, invest in workforce and technology, and strengthen the long-term sustainability of our emergency communications in Colorado Springs. At its core, this decision is about strengthening services, maximizing the value of local dollars, and continue to build a safer Colorado Springs. To our residents, I want you to hear me clearly. Our commitment to public safety remains unwavering. We will support our first responders. We will continue to invest in innovation and technology. We will continue to strengthen emergency response systems, and we will continue to be careful stewards of public trust. Because when someone dials 911, they're not thinking about governance structures or funding models. They simply need help, and they need to know that help is coming. That is our responsibility, that is our commitment, and that is exactly what this system is designed to strengthen. Thank you, and with that, I'll invite our public safety leaders to share more about the details about this transition, beginning with Chief Vasquez. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for your presence here today. This is a really important announcement. I'm pretty excited about it. As the Mayor mentioned, today we're announcing a new chapter in our 911 services here in Colorado Springs. And it's one that I strongly believe is the right move for our community here in Colorado Springs. Also for our businesses, for our public safety employees in Colorado Springs, this is the right move. Before I go too deep into my comments, I think it's important for us to understand the difference between a 911 communication center or a communication center. Most of you have visited our communication center right in this building. What's the difference between that and a 911 authority like the El Paso Teller County 911 Authority? Why are they different? Well, let me walk you through what happens and what you intuitively know happens in our city right now. If somebody calls, like the Mayor alluded to, they want help. And so if somebody calls our 911 number, somebody in this building answers that number, an emergency response technician. And they start asking them questions like, 911, what's your emergency? And they start finding out what's going on with that individual's need. And they send that information to the right dispatcher. Is it a fire department need? Is it a police department need? Is it medical services? That information flows, and a dispatcher dispatches the right resources to help with that need. That's what a communication center does, and sometimes you'll hear that referred to as a PSAP, or Public Safety Answering Point. That's how the statute talks about it. That is not going to change at all. But a 911 authority is very different, and I want to make sure you understand that the proposal today doesn't change 911 services or emergency response. The El Paso County Teller 911 Authority and all authorities across our state is a governance and funding structure for emergency communications. They collect a surcharge revenue from telecommunication providers like your cell phone company, and then distribute that money to communication centers to fund all the things that I just talked about. Authorities also provide training, quality and assurance reviews of 911 calls, public education and notification, and other services to our community. This proposal is not about changing who answers 911 calls. Colorado Springs already does this for Colorado Springs residents, and they've done that for many decades. This conversation is about ensuring the surcharge revenue collected from residents and businesses in Colorado Springs is dedicated to the public safety needs of Colorado Springs. It's not about stepping away from or reducing cooperation with our regional partners, and it's not about diminishing the important role that our current regional authority has played throughout El Paso and Teller counties for many years. In truth, the current authority has been and will continue to be great partners to the city of Colorado Springs. We're grateful for the work that they've done and the relationships that we've had in these partnerships across the region. Today is simply about ensuring our residents and businesses receive the full value of the public safety dollars they spend in our city. It's about ensuring the best governance, funding, and technology structure for Colorado Springs moving forward. Regarding the structure of 911 Authority, my focus is on one key question. What structure gives the people of Colorado Springs the best public safety service today and the strongest and most resilient communications system for our future? I believe Colorado Springs specific 911 Authority is what that structure needs to be. We entered the current regional authority nearly 40 years ago, and it served our city well for decades. But over time, Colorado Springs has grown into a large, diverse American city, no longer best served by a regional 911 authority that shares revenue. Our communications center handles the majority of 911 calls in our region. That's about 75% of the 911 calls in El Paso and Teller County come through our communications center. And our police and fire departments increasingly serve a growing community with complex public safety needs. Our community members and businesses pay a significant portion of the 911 telephone surcharge in the region, and those dollars should be governed locally in a way that fully supports Colorado Springs. This is both a fiscal responsibility and a public safety accountability issue. When public safety dollars are paid by Colorado Springs community members and businesses, public safety leaders have an obligation to ensure all of those dollars are supporting the systems, technology, staffing, infrastructure, and emergency response needs of the community that's paying for them. An additional point that we're paying great attention to is that public safety technology is changing rapidly. Many of you have been here when I've reported on our announcements involving our technology changes. The future of 911 is not just about answering phone calls. It's about connecting callers, dispatchers, police officers, firefighters, medical responders, real-time information from our real-time crime center as an example, video and related systems into a faster, safer, more effective emergency response system. Colorado Springs is already moving in that direction, and this move helps us fund the future of 911 in our city. Our city has reached a point where our 911 governance and funding structure must align with our technology systems and responders. A city-specific authority gives us the ability to make these decisions based on our operational needs and the city's future public safety priorities. What we're proposing is the same general model other large cities such as Aurora, Denver, and Pueblo have used for decades. They operate their own 911 authorities because it allows them to make local decisions, govern funds within their city, and ensure focus on local accountability and public safety needs. As experts in the region, me and my staff and Chief Royal and his staff believe strongly that Colorado Springs has reached that point, which is why we've proposed this change to the mayor and to City Council. I also want to be clear, the city will not jeopardize 911 services, non-emergency calling, interoperability, or coordination with our partners during this change. Any transition will be deliberate, professional, and technically sound. We'll still coordinate with the El Paso Teller County 911 Authority and our partners and maintain mutual aid agreements, assist one another, and ensure the safety of our region. What does change is that Colorado Springs generated surcharge revenue will go solely to Colorado Springs public safety needs. I believe this is the expectation from our community members and businesses. It's reasonable and what they should expect. I'm grateful to the mayor, city council, our communications professionals, regional partners, and the El Paso Teller County 911. These are truly tough conversations, but necessary ones. So thank you for being here to speak with us about it. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Royal from the Fire Department.
Thank you. I just wanted to start by talking about the relationship between CSFD and CSPD. We have a unique situation here. It's not found in lots of cities across the country, but we share a very strong and positive collaborative bond. Our teams work together every single day. We train together. We talk to each other on the radios, which is way different than a lot of communities, and we really try to look toward the future together. The level of coordination has made us nationally known, both PD and FD, across the country. Our collaborative programs include the Real-Time Crime Center, the Homeless Outreach Program, the community response teams, as well as our tactical medical team, where we work together almost every single day. A city-operated 911 authority is just going to strengthen our ability to work together in the future and to communicate well, and we're excited about that opportunity. It's going to help our field response units be able to respond in a manner that is more coordinated and, again, looking toward using future technology. This will allow our delivery services to be more efficient, leverage technology, like I said, into the future, and maximize the value of our taxpayer dollars. The collaboration that we have between all of our agencies is really key in this, and I think is what is going to drive it to be successful. As was mentioned earlier, calling 911 and the 911 authority are two separate things. So calling 911 is the actual physical work of somebody picking up the phone and calling. That is not going to change, and that has been mentioned. Our citizens should not expect any kind of change there. It's really the difference in the functions. 911 is part of the response system. The authority is part of managing that system, and we're bringing that management into the city. A dedicated 911 authority provides that local control over technology investments, over strategic planning, and as again has been mentioned, and Chief Eska has mentioned this, we have a lot of very innovative and thought-provoking technology opportunities moving into the future. Some of them are being placed in right now. This move is going to help us do that better in the future, really tied to communications and to dispatching. Future investments, Colorado Springs Police and Fire have long been recognized for our forward thinking in those innovative areas, and establishing this 911 authority is just going to improve that reputation and take it to the next level. This will enhance our computer-aided dispatch. Sometimes you hear the term CAD. That's how our units, both police and fire, are responded to the scene. They have units within each of their vehicles that delivers them the address, delivers them information about the caller and the person, the victim, whether it's medical or fire or a criminal. That is going to be enhanced by this move as well. This also is going to give us the best foot forward to grow with our community. We all know that it is a growing, thriving community, and it's only going to get bigger. This is going to help us in the future. Our responsibility is to serve the people of Colorado Springs. We all believe, and everybody standing behind me believe, that this is the best and most effective way to serve our community, is moving in this direction. We're going to continue to work collaboratively and know that this is going to help our citizens every single day receive that public safety in a better manner, and for us to provide the highest level of service possible. So with that, again, appreciate you being here and the support for this effort, and I'm going to bring on Councilwoman Hingham.
Thank you, Chief Royal. When residents call 911, they are placing trust in a system they believe is ready, resourced, and working on their behalf. Part of our job as city leaders is to make sure that trust is earned and that the dollars residents already pay are delivering the services those dollars were intended to support. That is what this initiative is about. Not just the technology or the structure, but the full system behind emergency response. We need to ensure that the system is built to deliver the best outcomes for the people of Colorado Springs. As was announced last month, Councilmember Roland Rainey and I have convened a public safety working committee. We are working with the Chief of Staff, Wayne Williams, with our CFO, Sheree McDaniel, with the Colorado Springs Fire Department Chief Royal, Police Chief Vasquez, as well as the Colorado Springs Police Protective Association and the Colorado Springs Firefighters Local 5. Our focus is building a clear and shared understanding of what our departments need to provide the very best levels of service to residents, especially as our city grows and public safety demands become more and more complex. This 911 Authority initiative connects directly to that work. Sustainable, accountable public safety systems don't happen by accident. They require the willingness to look honestly at funding structures and ask whether they are still fit for purpose. Colorado Springs Police and Colorado Springs Fire have made real progress, and I have tremendous confidence in the leadership and the frontline professionals who show up for this community every single day. City Council will have its full role to play when ordinances come before us later this year, At that time, we will be examining the details, hearing from stakeholders, asking important questions, and vetting this change on behalf of our city. I look forward to that process and to getting this right for our Colorado Springs first responders and our residents. Thank you, and now I would like to invite Deputy Chief John Koch to speak to some more of the details.
Thank you, Council Member. I'm going to take questions here in just a minute, but before I do so, on behalf of the city, I just want to reiterate the mayor and the chief's comments about the gratitude the city has for decades of service from the El Paso Teller County 911 Authority. That authority, the employees who are there, our regional partners have been extremely important to the safety of our city and our community, just as we are to theirs, and that does not change with this announcement. The city continues its commitment to our regional partners, and again, we are very, very grateful for the service that we and our community have been provided by the authority for many years. And with that, I will take questions.
So it sounds like what I've been hearing is solid efficiency and local control, and I've been hearing a bunch of different comments specific to funding. Was there a decision that was made at the 911 authority level that the city disagreed with, and that's why this change is needed, or what's the problem being solved?
No, this isn't a reflection on the authority or decisions they made at all. As public safety leaders, all of us have a responsibility to continually assess how the revenue our taxpayers, our citizens, our businesses are providing to us are being used, and to ensure that they are being used to support in the best way possible the public safety needs of the people and businesses of Colorado Springs. The mayor's made that clear to us, city council has made that clear to us, all the public safety leaders in the city have. And so we continue to assess where revenue funding provided by our citizens is used. And in this case, when we looked at how the revenue was being used for the people of Colorado Springs, compared that to what our public safety needs are, we're a growing city. Technology is more and more complex. The needs of Colorado Springs continue to grow. And this, along with a number of other things that we've looked at this year and in previous years, led us to make the decision that we believe a city-specific 911 authority will provide the most effective and efficient use of the revenue being provided, the public safety dollars being provided by the people of Colorado Springs for the public safety needs of Colorado Springs. It is not in any way a negative reflection on the authority or our regional partners.
My understanding is Colorado Springs has 3 of the 9 seats on the board currently. So what decisions being made, I guess, what is the difference going to be if Colorado Springs has this locally when they already have so much decision-making authority on that?
Yeah, so if you look at that, I mean, there's an answer within that. Colorado Springs, in this entire region that the El Paso Teller County 911 Authority covers, represents about 63% of the regional population. Well, if you look at that, 3 of 9 votes, the city of Colorado Springs, with the overwhelming majority of population, only has 1/3 voting power. And we believe that that does not proportionally represent the people and businesses of Colorado Springs and the amount of funding that is being provided by the people and businesses in this city comparative to the representative voting structure we have on the authority as it exists right now.
And has the city talked to the board about revisiting that structure instead of going into this local route?
We did not. You'll have to give me a little bit more specifics of what you're asking for there.
X amount of money was taken, split 3 or 4 ways, but now you're going to get 100% of that money that you're coming in. How much money are you going to get instead of giving it to the board?
So I can answer that question. There's an important caveat to go with that, though, is that a number of these things are estimates based on our review of contracts and things that we know, but I can't provide exactly specific figures until we see remittance details from the Public Utilities Commission and a lot of different things. But with that in mind, I can give you general estimates that we believe are pretty accurate. We believe this year that the El Paso Teller County 911 Authority will collect $20.8 million of emergency telecommunications surcharges that covers the entire region. And that is the city of Colorado Springs, the county of El Paso, and all of Teller County, including the cities of Cripple Creek, Woodland Park, the different public safety answering points. So with that $20.8 million in mind, Again, these are estimated figures based on population percentage. We believe that the city and city ratepayers, city residents, city businesses will generate approximately $13.1 million of that $20.8 million in revenue. And based on what we have assessed right now, the costs that city residents are reimbursed for by the authority at current structure is estimated to be $9.2 million this year.
And then when, do you have a contract with the board, and if so, or an agreement, when will that end?
So we do have an intergovernmental agreement both with the 911 authority, that's what established the authority in 1989, and with the other public safety answering points. Part of the reason that we're making this announcement now is that that intergovernmental agreement requires the city or any entity separating from the authority make notice at least 180 days prior to the year in which that separation will occur. So the city is required to make that notification by July 5th, 2026 if we are to separate in 2027. That is our intent and why we're making that announcement now.
Is the city going to have to get more infrastructure? I know you guys said like response times will be impacted, but my understanding is things like GIS are under El Paso County Teller Authority. So is that going to be a cost that the city then goes in?
So we assessed that all when we looked at services that we may need to add in the city or not necessarily add, but strengthen that the city already has. And what we have looked at and assessed right now is that all of the services that the city will need to provide to do what we do today, the price tag on that is approximately $9.2 million in 2027. And so that's part of the answer to your question. The other piece of that is when we look at things like GIS or legal services or HR or things that the authority currently provides, the city already has a GIS team. It's not that we don't have GIS capability. And so that's part of what we looked at here in making this decision too is, look, are there duplicated services that essentially city residents and businesses are paying for both within the city and within the authority? And the answer to that question is yes. And so those are pieces of why we made that decision to look out and say, listen, are our residents paying for the same service a couple of times? And if the answer is yes, all of us have a responsibility to change that. And that's what part of this is.
So what about the people living in El Paso County and Colorado Springs, right? Will that money then go through twice, right? Are you getting a double surcharge if you live in Colorado Springs to pay for the El Paso County part, or is that only going to be Monument, Cumberland, Fountain? How does that split up?
I'm going to pause for a minute. Mayor, did you have something?
No, I just want to help direct with a question. No, go ahead and
okay.
answer. Yep.
The answer to that is no. And the best way to think about this is the city of Aurora and the county of Arapahoe have the exact structure and have had for decades that we are proposing now. So residents in Aurora pay a surcharge. Anybody that looks on their cell phone bill can see there's a $2 per month surcharge that says public safety communication surcharge. The people of Aurora pay that, and the city of Aurora collects that to their authority. The people of Arapahoe County outside of the city of Aurora also pay that surcharge revenue. And it is not doubled up. So people in Colorado Springs aren't paying for the city and the county. You pay one surcharge based on where you live, and then the jurisdiction in which you live that collects that revenue is what gets that money.
Is there any new services that the city is going to have to create that was being covered under the partnership to now that it's going to be, if the proposal is approved and the city on its own?
There are not new services. We do believe there are a few new positions the city will need to create to cover things that are done by the authority, like quality assurance and checking of calls for service and things like that. But when we looked at that and presented this to the mayor for his review, we had already accounted for what we believe those additional expenses or positions would cost, and it still was very, very cost effective for the city to make this move. So a short answer is, yes, we as a city will have to add some services, but we believe those to be less than the amount of services city ratepayers are currently paying for with the authority structure as it exists right now.
Brandon, you're next.
Even though this is like an intergovernmental change and a funding change, what can residents expect will, like an example of a real change that might come out of this if approved, something that in the next year they might see a difference in?
Mayor, is that a question you'd like to answer?
I would be happy to speak into that. In terms of the services from the authority, expect the same excellence. But what you're going to see differently is something that has been repeated several times. It's the money that's being paid by our residents will stay in Colorado Springs. So when my team presented this to me, they had me at, we're going to save some money, and we can use that money to reinvest in our public safety services. They're one of three things that we're pursuing potentially with the cost savings. One is apparatus. I mean, you've heard our fire department talk about aging apparatus. In fact, Councilmember Henjum's committee, that task force with Councilmember Rainey, that task force is intended to ensure that we can stay ahead of some of the funding needs and gaps. And so we're looking at, as Deputy Chief Koch has said, these are all rough estimates, but we're looking at anything between $3 to $6 million potential savings that we will reinvest in aging vehicles and apparatus and in technology and in compensation. So one of the things I'm really proud of is that my team has moved the needle in the last 3 years, despite economic uncertainty, despite economic headwinds, and without raising taxes. I think this is a better solution for our residents than raising taxes, is to say how can we find the savings that we need to reinvest in ourselves to ensure that we are still moving the needle in our public safety deliverables and priorities. Yes. Good question.
Thank you. That's actually, I believe, one of the first questions you asked us, Mr. Mayor, because we know that peak alerts and the underlying software that's called Everbridge is really important to our community members. We accounted for the cost of peak alerts and Everbridge in any change that we made. We're aware and believe that we will have to bridge contract some things with the authority while we stand up city services. But we anticipate no changes to the peak alert strategy or how we distribute information to the public. That's actually one of the most important things that we do in public safety, and one of the things the mayor made clear to us early on.
That's a great question. My understanding, and correct me, Deputy Chief Koch, is that we're not going to, it's pretty much the same, expect the same services, expect the same surcharge. And my understanding is that we're actually charging less than the maximum allowance. Did I say that? Yeah, we are actually under. We don't expect to increase that at all, but we do expect to use the savings to invest in ourselves, in our public safety priorities, what our residents have asked of me since day one. Because at the end of the day, a safe city is a great city. So that is the biggest benefit our residents will be getting from this change. Deputy Chief?
So I'm going to try to answer what I think your question is. The thing that's important to understand about, for example, the Colorado Springs Public Safety Communications Center, which is who our residents talk to if they call 911 or need non-emergency services, is funded by general fund and public safety sales tax dollars. That's the overwhelming majority of the funding that our communications center receives. And then they also receive secondary funding through the 911 authority and the surcharges that we're talking about. Obviously, as Councilmember Hinjum alluded to, City Council will need to take action on any of this plan to move forward. The mayor has also been speaking with council, as he said. If, depending on those future discussions, is when we'll make those determinations. But there's not a circumstance where public safety communications, the 911 center, do not receive funding and don't continue to function. That's not a concern we have at all. So the interesting, now I understand what you're asking. We have not committed to an exact separation date to create our own authority. That is something that we will discuss with the authority and our regional partners to ensure that when we make that move, it is a seamless rollover from the time that we are in the authority to when the city begins collecting the public safety surcharge revenue at that point in time. So there will be no gap in coverage. Yes, sir.
Let me speak into that. For me, it's real simple. It's one of two options. We return to status quo. That option is always available. We will notify the 911 authority, but I don't want to do status quo. I want to advance, and that is the option that we are pursuing. So at the end of the day, we do what we've always done, or we flip that page and we step into a new chapter to continue the progress that we have been making over the last 3 years.
Okay, one last question for anyone, for the mayor, or anything before we go to one-on-ones?
All right, can we do 1, 2, 3? Let's start with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a little bit more about the timeline and the fact that it says it will be implemented, I guess, the coroner participate by 2027. Is there a specific month you're targeting, and also how long do you think it will take for that change to occur? Would that be months, weeks, days?
So again, those are discussions that we need to have with the authority and our general partners. The city's plan is to begin its own authority in 2027, but a lot of what we've talked about today about bridge contracts and services and wanting to ensure continuity of the things that exist right now are going to guide those discussions and the date that the city makes that determination. This announcement allows us to do so in 2027, but we are not right now set to a specific date because the overwhelming priority is ensuring that services are able to continue as they always have and that any transition is done smoothly, works with our partners, works with the authority, and ultimately benefits our residents and businesses.
I wanted to add to Deputy Chief Koch's statement, we want to be good partners. So some of that timeline is not just what's in the best interest of Colorado Springs. That selfishly, that is my top priority. But we also want to be good partners. So we are flexible with the 911 authority partners in terms of that timeline. So more to come on that. Yes.
Was there any, what was the impetus of this change? I mean, the city was part of this partnership for 40 years. Was it an increase in revenue? I mean, what pushed this to this proposal?
Well, there are a lot of components to that question. The first is, as we've previously said, we have a responsibility as public safety leaders that has been made clear to us by the mayor, by our residents, by our businesses, by everyone, by city council, to continually assess where our public safety dollars provided by our citizens are being used. And when we looked and believed that not all the revenue being provided through this surcharge by our residents and businesses were being used by Colorado Springs or for Colorado Springs public safety needs, we felt a responsibility to our citizens to address that. That's number one. Number two, this is a growing city with complex needs. And the larger cities in the state have very different needs than other jurisdictions. That's not to say they're better or worse, they're just different. And as we've grown as a city and added new technology, AI-assisted call taking, drone as first responder programs, that path, that technology journey or whatever you want to call it that we're on, has led us to look at how we can effectively fund these things, not just today, but in the years that come because of the positive changes we've seen. I can't reiterate enough, this is not a reflection on the authority or on our partners. This is the city looking at the most, ensuring that the public safety funding we are provided is used in the most efficient and effective way possible for our residents and businesses.
I'm going to speak to this question, if I might. I appreciate the question, and I would say that for the last year, City Council has been working with our city administration to look at more sources of revenue for our city. As been said numerous times, we are a growing city. We have growing needs for levels of service, and we need more revenue to do it. It's kind of simply put, this is a way to get more revenue without our residents spending an extra penny.
I'm not going to try to be good, but I guess we have enough with the 911 authority, but it also sounds like they have not really been told much about this happening. Like, why not let them know ahead of time that you're planning to leave?
We have. We've had discussions with partners within the authority, with our other partners, to let them know that this is occurring. And we also are letting them know today well in advance of making this move. This is not a situation where the city is saying, hey, listen, we're leaving tomorrow. We're making notice that in 2027, we plan on doing that we are committed to working with our partners in that transition, and that we will continue to work with the authority and all of the other PSAPs and our regional partners to do this in an orderly fashion, but one that represents the people and businesses of Colorado Springs effectively. You know, I'm going to let them speak to that. I wouldn't want to speak to what their reactions were.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Appreciate everyone coming again. Deputy Chief John Koch and Deputy Chief Tim DeLeon will be available for further questions. I'll direct you in front if you guys want to break down for one-on-ones. And that concludes. If you have any other questions about the release or any information in there, get with myself or Derek Wilson in the back of the room, and we'll get you squared away. Thanks, everybody.